Welcome to Ear Biscuits. I'm Rhett.
And I'm Link. This week at the round table of dim lighting, we have another conversation with someone interesting from the internet. We're bringing to you this time Matthew Santoro. Now, I'm sure you've seen his videos, at least a handful of them, list videos designed to satisfy inquisitive minds. Each week, just look for a new thumbnail of a bald, bearded dude with a Cheshire cat smile and millions of views registering underneath it, and you will have found Matthew Santoro's video that week.
And now, usually these videos come in the form of a top 10 list. That is what he is very well known for now, with, quote, mind-blowing, end quote, facts and trivia, irresistibly clickable titles like, and I'm gonna use my irresistibly clickable voice, 10 most fascinating things ever found in space. 10 most haunted places on Earth.
Go deeper.
10 incredible animals with real-life superpowers. 10 freakiest coincidences in history.
And for this last one, can you go like monster truck announcer?
Yeah. And 50 amazing facts to blow your mind. Number 7.
Number 7.
I spit a little bit. You wish you could have seen it.
All right, here's a clip from one of Matt's more recent and popular videos, over 5.5 million views, titled 10. Should you say this one too?
I mean, I could go to next level, monster truck guy.
Okay, do it.
10 creepy urban legends that turn out to be true.
If you didn't catch that, it was 10 creepy urban legends that turned out to be true.
Number 6 is creatures in your toilet. This one will pucker your butthole. This urban legend is about a man that gets out of bed half asleep in the middle of the night and walks to the washroom to do his business, only to get bit by a giant rat right in the bum.
Now, even though Matt has been making videos since 2010, his success is really recent, and it's kind of mind-boggling how quickly he has ascended up the ranks. In a 3-month time span from May through July of this year, he doubled his subscriber base, skyrocketing from 1 million to 2 million subscribers just in those 3 months, and he's still growing, right? As of this recording, he's got over 2.5 million subscribers. So the dude is just, it's an interesting case study in someone who can refine something and it's like it caught fire. It's interesting. Right,
so we're talking to him in the midst of this incredible upswing that he has been experiencing this year.
So let's call this a case study, Ear Biscuit. I mean, we discussed lots of things, his famous teeth, his previous life as a professional accountant.
And we get into unpacking the secrets to this incredibly quick rise to fame on YouTube and the approach of navigating this competitive world of internet list videos.
Here it is, our Ear Biscuit with Matthew Santoro.
Now, I gotta admit, I was hoping that when we offered you coffee, you would say yes, and then you would request a straw. Because we know that this is a thing. You drink coffee through a straw.
So you did your research. I like that.
We always do our research.
Who do you think we are, man?
Yes, I do.
Well, give us the backstory on drinking coffee through a straw. I have my theories.
There's actually no real backstory. It's just general maintenance for the old chompers. That's all it is. So, it got to keep them as white as possible. And drinking, anytime I have, it makes it a little difficult when you're at a dinner or a party trying to be classy and you're drinking red wine through a straw. Looks a little odd, but...
Oh, so you totally commit to this.
I totally commit. I've never been on a date and done that, but what I do is, like, anytime I'm going out, I choose white wine over red on purpose, regardless of the dish.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is pretty
I'm committed.
No, I gotta say that I do feel like your teeth are a big part of your brand.
They are, and it's funny because people are always like, why do you show so much teeth? And it is. It's just the smile thing. I know it sounds stupid, but...
No, but I don't think it's just the smile. I feel like if I was designing a human... for like some sort of, and I was like, okay, I got to use this person's eyes, I got to use this person's elbows. First of all, I wouldn't use my elbows because they're very pointy unless this was like a fighter, because I can elbow somebody in the face. But I would choose your teeth.
Oh wow!
They're very large. I feel like you have
very large.
You could bite something. Like they're very white, they're very straight, they're very prominent. We're not talking like a horse mouth situation. We're just talking like bionic,
thin ice, dude.
bionic man. Like, oh, well, I got to put Matt Santoro's teeth on this robot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This robot we're designing to overtake the human race.
Matt, what?
Respond. Hold on. Let him respond to that.
To make you feel a little better before you respond,
Okay.
what's behind this for Rhett is he's jealous because if you look at him now or any videos, you can't see the guy's teeth.
Yeah.
Like,
I love teeth.
you try as hard as he may to show people his teeth, he can't do it. But there are people who are convinced he doesn't even have teeth.
Right.
And I'm one of those people.
I got small teeth. I got a small mouth. I mean, yeah.
But you're a giant man.
I am, which
Yeah.
makes it extra awkward.
So those things may have seemed like a cut on you, but basically it's just revealing one of his deepest insecurities is that
Right.
people think he's
I
toothless.
complimented his freaking teeth, man.
Right, I got robot teeth. I know.
Large teeth is a good thing, and that's not a bad thing. It's not like I see a bunch of gums over there. It's not like a gummy smile, one of those smiles. I mean, the man smiles, and all you see is big, bright, white teeth. This is a compliment. I would protect him too.
Yeah, man. Just regular maintenance. People are always like, "Did you have braces?" I have never had braces.
Really?
Yep, never.
No work done.
No work done. Fillings, I've had fillings, but that's about it. I mean, nothing special done. It's just maintenance, my man.
But you're very committed to the whiteness of your teeth.
The whiteness, yes, I very much so. I mean, all you got to do is just maintain them. So I use a lot of Listerine, anti-stain Listerine. Not a sponsor, but I use that. I use whitening toothpaste. Just regular maintenance.
But
That's all it is.
what would happen? What would happen if the teeth faded to yellow?
Ooh.
You'd lose.
Well, I
views?
would just everyone would unsubscribe and I'd be on the street. I mean, that's all it is.
I mean, they're. I guess what I'm saying is they are quite in focus. Like for me, I don't worry about my teeth at all because, like Link said, you never see them.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I think they're relatively white and relatively straight, but they're not that white and that straight. But they don't have to be.
Yeah.
But when you are the bionic man such as yourself,
Right.
Bionic mouth.
they gotta be straight. They gotta be white, and they are. Have you ever had like your bite strength tested?
No. Well, my father was a shark, and my mother was just a bucket of white paint. So that's why I am who I am.
That's weird.
Yeah, it is weird. I don't even know how they got together.
How
but
does a
it's
shark
awkward.
and paint?
That's another
procreate?
I'd like
episode.
to
That's
see
just
that.
another episode. I can't even. Still trying to figure that out.
Okay. So too bad we didn't get to see it in action though. But there is water you can just drink. I will not stain your teeth.
Yeah,
This is-
perfect. I
this is
appreciate
good
that.
American water.
Yeah.
But you got to watch it when drinking like a hot beverage through a straw like coffee, man. You're sending, it's the
Melting
burn
the
express to the back of your mouth
yeah.
there.
Well, I thought one thing I think about is, I use a new straw every day, of course, but drinking hot coffee.
Hold on, it's like a new straw?
Yeah, well, like a disposable straw every day because I have coffee every morning.
Well, you could get like a metal straw.
Er?
Yeah.
That's a thing?
Yeah, it's an eco straw. You get a wooden straw too.
I think you just changed my life.
Yeah, I get
That's
a
amazing.
wooden straw, bamboo straw.
Okay, well, I'm going to have to definitely look into that because I've been using plastic straws. And for a while now, I've been thinking over the course of a year, let's say hypothetically I drink 365 cups of coffee, one straw per coffee. How much of the straw is getting melted while I'm drinking? And how much so have I consumed a couple straws over the course of a year?
Now let me make
and
sure.
if so, what's the impact of that?
Let
That's
me
a
make
good
sure I'm not
question.
making this up because I just said wooden straw because I figured it.
I think
Yep, it exists.
Wow.
You can buy them in a 5-pack. Handcrafted wood straw, 5-pack, $17. Etsy.
Reusable?
well,
Yeah,
if they're not, that'd
they
be
do.
very
They got
expensive.
designs on them?
Really?
Holy mackerel. Yeah, you need to. You know what? Hey, this is a sponsor.
first,
Yeah, when I get back to Canada, that's the first thing I'm buying.
first, we're gonna send you a pack. That's our thank you for making this biscuit.
You just made my day, man. Thank you so
You
much.
A pack of wood straws.
All right, so let's go a little deeper than the teeth. I mean, we
Okay.
could stay here for all night.
Well, I
but
want to
we
find out
probably
what he
shouldn't.
thinks about L.A. Have you been to L.A. before?
Yes, I love LA. I love California in general. It's beautiful. It's always sunny. The people are beautiful. You guys are here. What more could you want?
But I mean, it's no Canada.
That's right. I mean, there are positives and negatives.
There's smog.
Yeah. Oh, there's smog here. Yeah, we don't
A
get
lot.
We don't get a lot of that in Canada.
Stain your teeth.
Oof, yeah.
You got to
Breathe
breathe
through my
that
teeth.
smog, that smog into a straw. From now on, that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, that's right. No, I mean, I love living in Canada. I live in a town called St. Catharines, which is about 30 minutes away from Niagara Falls. And Niagara Falls is the type of thing where...
You ever been over?
No, I definitely have not. But there have been multiple people that have tried. Some survived, some haven't.
Oh, yeah, we know about that.
It's quite illegal, but... yeah,
you done a show on that yet?
No, I've done I don't know. I've done a top 10 on pretty much everything now. But I'm trying to think if I've done one on that.
Well, we've done that, but you can still do it.
Actually, I just did one on 10 inventors killed by their own inventions. And one of them was a guy that invented what he called the capsule. And he used this thing to go over the falls, and he survived. So do you know about this guy?
He was in the list.
He died years later. Well, something related, right?
Yeah, so the first time he did it, everything was fine. So these guys, I believe it was in Dallas, Texas, the Houston Astrodome, I think it was. And they created an artificial waterfall over something along those lines. And he went over in the capsule, except the Houston Astrodome was apparently much higher. And what happened was, or something like that, and he fell, when he impacted, he hit the side of the pool. Anyways, the capsule exploded, he died, and that was the end of that. But he didn't hit in actually like on target. So that's why he died.
So he was like doing a test.
He was doing a ticket selling demonstration. Like he was a celebrity. It's like, come see the dude who went over the falls, go over the fake falls here.
Right.
And he'll die.
You got to
That'll be
stick
cool.
to the real falls when you want to.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you know, that topic is a good example of something that it takes thought and calculation to come up with a good subject for a good list video, and you've got it down to, you've honed it to an art, you know. But my question is, there's such a wide range of topics. I'm like serial killers, to sports, to science fiction. How do you decide what to do an episode on? Inventors who were killed by their own inventions. You know, where do these things come from?
Well, I actually have two sources. One is real life, so I'll just be living my life, I don't know, walking to a store and something will click and I'll just say, oh, that's a good idea, I'll put it down on my phone. The other one, which is usually my biggest source, is sometimes it's all the internet, obviously. So I'll either Google just a random topic, or I will use one of the. I have a folder in Chrome where I have, and this is, I've never told anyone this, so this is an exclusive for you guys. But I have a folder in Chrome where I have about 10 or more list websites. And you guys know there's tons of these list websites. And what I'll do is I'll search randomly through their lists and then I'll find one. So for example, I'll find the 6 creepiest foods or grossest foods on earth. And then that'll be like, oh, okay, that's a great topic. So what I'll do is I'll use that idea and Google it and use, I'll cherry pick from the 10 websites that pop up and cherry pick the best ones and then do further research on those. So I never just use one website, because you'd be surprised at how much false information there is, especially when you're doing like my series 50 Amazing Facts. A lot of these fact, quote unquote, websites that are out there, especially the ones that people share on Facebook and things like that, a lot of them, I'd say 50% of them are false of the ones that you read online. Once you actually look into it, they're either completely false or just unfounded. And
they've been replicated on multiple websites sometimes.
Yeah, it's the type. Yeah, it's the type of thing where a false fact almost becomes truth because everybody starts saying it. Like even when one of these websites will misquote somebody or something, and then BuzzFeed will pick it up, and then Cracked will pick it up, and they just all pick it up. And so, but it's false. So in the first couple 50 Amazing Facts that I made, I actually accidentally used a couple of those, and ever since then, people called me out on it. And I thought, okay,
they'll call you out.
Oh, they definitely. Well, I mean, especially with a big audience, there's always one, and that's it. So ever since then, I've been really, really diligent about researching these things, and if I can't find absolute guaranteed something that I'm certain about, I just leave the fact out now.
Well, interesting. We can say, with Good Mythical Morning, we basically apply the same system in terms of when we do a list episode, right? Which I want to get into that. I want to get into the dynamics of that and how we and you feel about that approach. But as you say that, I mean, that's definitely our approach. Our approach is, let's not just go to one website because we don't want to just do the same list that somebody else did, because then we're just biting off of them. So, but if there's a list on the internet, it's been done 10 times,
of course.
And so
everything's a remix, right?
Find your favorites and then and offer commentary.
Yeah.
But we'll get into the mechanics of that later. But we want to find out about the Matt that became the Matt Santoro of today. So let's go back. I'm assuming the origins are in Canada.
Yes. Do you want me to just begin?
Yeah. Begin.
Where did you come from?
Well, my mother, but essentially I grew up in a small town. Again, this is something I haven't told anyone before. So, but I grew up in a small town called Welland, Ontario, Canada, obviously. And I lived there for most of my life. And then I moved to St. Catharines with my now ex-girlfriend. And now I live on my own. But when I moved to St. Catharines, I was studying accounting. And I went into.
But what about even before then? So you moved to.
Okay.
You moved to St. Catharines to study accounting?
Well,
in
no,
college?
I went to Brock University in St. Catharines, and I was actually living with my mom for many years, and I lived there while I was studying accounting. And I graduated that, then moved to St. Catharines. That was the timeline. And I got my Master of Accountancy degree, and that took 5.5 years.
Well, let's figure out what contributes to someone wanting to be an accountant.
My dad has been in business his whole life, and now he actually teaches business, which is a lot less stressful apparently. But yeah, my dad was always in business, so I decided, you know what, basically I wanted to do something in business, and I remember my accounting teacher in high school saying to me, "Well, Matt, I know you don't know what you want to do, but if you want to make money, go into accounting because you're guaranteed to make a lot of money." I thought, okay, well, I'm in high school. I don't know anything, so that sounds good. You hear a lot of money.
My dad does it.
Yeah, well, plus my dad's in business, so it just kind of fits. So I went into that.
What does your mom do? Because you could have done that.
My mom, I don't even. My mom works at like an employment thing. So when for immigrants, so when immigrants come in, she helps them get jobs and just helps everybody get jobs type thing. She works for the government basically.
Okay.
But yeah, so and I'll just tell the story, and if you want any more details, just jump in, let me know. But
yeah.
So I got my Master of Accountancy degree, and when I graduated, I worked in accounting for about 2 years. Now, immediately upon graduating, or just before actually, I had really discovered all these people that were making videos on YouTube. Ray William Johnson was the first person I discovered. This was 2010. Or actually late 2009, I discovered him. And then I discovered Dan Brown, Pogo Bat, Philip DeFranco, Wheezy Waiter, Tessa, Mika Kitty, Julian Smith, just all these people that were pretty talented.
Now you had graduated? You had an accounting degree?
At this point, at the end of 2009, I had graduated with my undergrad. And then between 2009 and 2010, I was working on my master's degree. It was only one more year.
And so you started working on your master's and started watching YouTube videos.
Well, yeah, you can do both at the same time.
Can you?
Yeah, sure you can. Okay. And when I started watching these people, it was so entertaining. And I realized, my God, these people are famous. Like, they're basically internet famous. And especially with Ray, he was doing it out of what looked like his apartment. And I was just fascinated that this is a whole new world that we live in, that these people can start this type of stuff with just what looked like just a webcam. And I was just fascinated by it. So I thought to myself, after about 6 months of watching these people, I thought, I could probably do that.
Now, that takes a certain kind of person, though, right?
It does, yeah.
Because the average person, I think that's changing. I know that I think kids, especially who are watching YouTubers now, it's kind of built in that, this can be a career, because I know there's people who do this as a career.
Right.
But it takes a certain kind of person as an adult with a degree to be watching YouTube content and then make the connection to, I could be doing this. So, I mean, were you a guy that liked to perform for people?
No.
Like any kind of background?
Well, it's kind of weird that I went into accounting, because my whole life I've been kind of a goofy guy. I always enjoyed making people laugh. I've always enjoyed facts and things like that. But I never, like when I started YouTube, I never thought, this is going to be a career. I just thought, I'm just going to do this and this will always be something that'll be my creative outlet. Because when you're an accountant, you're
need something.
Yeah, you need something, or else you're going to, lose it. So, that's just what I did. I started doing that, working basically 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, doing videos on Saturdays, writing the video through the week at night. So it was kind of a hustle.
And what was your living situation at the time? Because you said you moved to St. Catharines.
Yeah, so I moved to St. Catharines with my girlfriend. Upon moving in with her, ex-girlfriend, upon moving in with her,
You moved in with your ex-girlfriend?
No, well, girlfriend at the time.
Okay, got it.
That would have been weird. No, but I moved in with her, and then I just was like, okay, now I'm going to start making videos. I'm in a new place, fresh start. Let's just start making videos. So I went out. I got a crappy Sony Handycam. I mean, it was 1080p. That's all I cared about. I didn't know anything about video editing. I didn't know anything about white balancing. So my first set of videos were very orange looking. No lighting, no mic or anything. But I just jumped into it, and everything I learned, I was completely self-taught off YouTube, and I just had a really big imagination. So what I would do is come up with what I wanted to do in the video, and then figure it out after. I never thought like, oh no, could I do that? I never thought of that. I just shot what I wanted to do, and then figured out how to do it through YouTube tutorials. Never taken a class on video editing, nothing like that. Never learned how to shoot, professionally or anything like that. Just learned everything myself. So
and creative, I mean, looking back at your earliest videos, very different than what you're doing now.
Yes.
I can see, when you list your influences, you can definitely see that at the beginning. You were kind of emulating. You got a little bit of Ray, you got a little bit of Phil talking about maybe a current event here or there. Maybe you got a Wheezy Waiter clone coming in.
You guys are good. I like this.
So it's you definitely see, hey, they're doing this. I'm just going to throw it all against the wall and then see what sticks.
Yeah.
Right? That's kind of...
Basically, yeah. And I mean, if you look at my earliest videos, I've always done lists. I've always done that. They just weren't top 10s. I've done, everything from, 10 ways to lose your man card, which is just a ridiculous video, but it was one of my first videos. And that was inspired by something I heard on the radio. A disc jockey was talking about a man card, and I thought it was a hilarious topic. So I just came up with 10 things how to be a manly man, which is ironic because I am the farthest thing from everything on that list. Like, I'm not like a manly man at all.
So you're not a card carrier.
Actually, I am, because the guys that own it's like mancard.com or officialmancard.com, they found the video and contacted me and said, we love this. What's your address? We want to send you an official man card.
Oh, wow.
I got
What does that look like?
It's just a black man card with my name, and it says member since, and then it has my date of birth and then till death. Yeah, that's what it says on it. And it came with a certificate and everything.
So you got a man card by knowing somebody. That's...
we all have...
Hey, as long as you got it, right?
I mean,
we all have our man card until we lose it. That's the way the man card works.
Okay.
But I don't really believe that stuff.
Okay.
That's just the technical how it works. But yeah, and that's about it. So I started doing skits.
Now let's before we get into this transition from those early videos to what you're doing now. Describe St. Catharines, because is that where you're at now?
That's where I'm at now. Yeah.
Okay.
About 150,000 people. Not a very big town.
Not too small though.
No, not too small. I mean, Welland, where I grew up, which is 15 minutes away from that, is only 50,000. So I'm moving on up. But if you look at like Buffalo, New York, Niagara Falls is about 30 minutes above that. St. Catharines is about 30 minutes above that. Toronto is about an hour and a half above that, just to put it into perspective. So that's where I live.
Okay.
And it's...
And if you're doing accounting, which you're at a desk, right? This is there's not a lot of movement going on.
Nope.
If you're entering in your lifestyle situation into like one of those fitness apps, you put sedentary.
Basically.
If you're an accountant.
Yeah.
So it's one thing to be like, okay, well, on the weekends I'm going to. What kind of things did you hunt? Moose? I know that's a little insulting. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
but
hunt beavers.
there's different things that you could do, but you were like, I'm going to do this other thing, which is a little, it's less sedentary than accounting. But it wasn't like, okay, I'm going to go and do this other thing to bring myself some satisfaction. What was the initial allure of that? Were you like, that just seems more fun? Like, those people seem like they're having more fun, or those people seem like they are reaching more people?
I I don't know. It's just it's hard to explain. I mean, I just jumped into it because it looked like something that I don't know. I can't really explain it to you, to be completely honest. It was just something that I've always enjoyed entertaining people. I was always a goofball in high school and grade school. So I thought to myself, this is a way to continue doing that just to the people that watch me on YouTube. So instead of high school or grade school, now that I'm an adult, well, this is my only other way to do it. So
right.
it was just my creative outlet. It's really all it was. And so, yeah, it just continued from there.
And it was something that just happened as an outlet, on the weekend. I imagine you sitting at your accounting desk. I mean, we had engineering jobs. Rhett more than me would sit at his engineering cubicle and obsess about all the things that he wanted to be interested in besides what he was getting paid to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I imagine you think about, all right, this is what's going into my video this Saturday.
Oh, yeah. Oh, totally. It was really the only way to keep me sane. That's the only thing that kept me sane, and the only thing that kept me awake was a lot of energy drinks and coffee. Just a terribly unhealthy job, and you're sitting there all day. Oh, man. I'm so glad I'm doing what I'm doing now. It's so much better.
So as you split your time between accounting and YouTube, there was no room for that girlfriend? She had to hit the road?
No,
what happened there?
No, nothing like that. Her name's Marcy. She was the most, is one of the best people I've ever known. It just didn't work out. We after a while, we were together for 5 years. It just kind of, after a while, seemed like we were just really good friends. It just kind of happens. There was no juicy story. Nothing happened. No one did anything. We're still really good friends. She's still very supportive. We have coffee once in a while, so everything's good on that.
Does she drink through a straw?
She doesn't drink through a straw.
Because I pictured
that's
the two of
the
you.
Secret. That's
two
why
of you,
ended.
1 cup of coffee, 2 straws.
Yeah, right.
While you were dating.
Yeah, no, something like that, but no. No, it was a couple months ago, and
whoa, okay. This is fresh. This is okay.
June,
welcome to Ear Biscuits.
Yeah, so June, so July, August. Yeah, about 2.5 months ago.
And oh wow, this is a 5-year relationship. And
yeah,
2 months ago.
Yeah.
You move out, she move out.
I moved out because I moved in with her originally. It was still her apartment, so I moved out. And but it was, it was really tough. But it was something that I knew was the best thing for the both of us, and it was super tough because she was one of the most supportive people, and like I said, one of the best people, still is one of the best people I've ever known in my life. But it's just sometimes you just don't click and have chemistry, and it just didn't work. So it was just time to move on.
So to go back from those first videos, start to walk us through the transition from emulating the YouTubers that you watched to move. You said you were doing some list-based things pretty early on. We can see that, but in looking back through the channel, I think there's certain milestones that I can kind of trace an evolution to arrive at what you have today. In your mind, how did that happen? And leading up to a point where you could do this full time. I'm curious how recent that's been.
It's tough. So right up until the end of, I'm trying to think of the timeline now. So 2014, 2013. So right up until the end of 2013, I was about October-ish. I still only had about 15,000 subscribers. And
still working full time.
No. So that's part of the story too. I was actually laid off. That's what. So I'll do a little backstory. So what actually happened was I was working in accounting for 2 years, and I was working for a small firm. What happens, the risk of working at a small firm is they're much more, if the economy goes bad or anything happens, they're much more, likely to do layoffs type thing.
Yeah.
And that was the moment where a light bulb went off, because I remember the day I got laid off. I came home, and I wasn't upset, and I remember looking at Marcy and smiling and saying, I got laid off. And it was like this seed of doubt, this voice that was in the back of my head for these 2 years, really came to the forefront and said, hey, I've been telling you this whole time, you weren't happy, let's make a change. And it was that moment where I realized, we live in a world now where the quote unquote safe route is not that safe. We were always told to go to university, get a good job, work the 9 to 5, do that for 40 years, and then you die, raise a family, and raise a family first, not as a corpse. Generally doesn't work out.
Some people are into that.
Yeah. So, raise a family and then you die. But that's not the world anymore. And people are waking up to that fact. And I'm just glad that I woke up to that at a relatively young age, because I'm 29 right now. I woke up to that at the age of 27. And I think it took me as long as it did or I didn't realize it longer because, you spend 5.5 years in school. You can't, it's hard to say, geez, well, I changed my mind. It's really, I think this is, what I really want to do. And it takes, not many people do that because especially when you already have a job. I mean, who's going to leave a 9-to-5 job where you have pay to follow, a wild goose chase? I mean, making it on YouTube is like winning the lottery. It really is. It's very, very difficult. And I was blessed enough that happened to me.
But you were at that point 1 year ago now, basically. It's almost October.
Yep.
So 1 year ago, you laid off
Yep.
and you got that smile on your face because you knew I can go all in with YouTube?
I was laid off a year before that, actually.
2 years.
Yeah. So, what happened was October-ish was the almost 1 year anniversary of getting laid off.
Okay.
So that whole time I was broke. I had no money. That's one of the reasons I'm so thankful to Marcy, because she really helped out during that time. I was getting some unemployment and stuff, so that kind of helped, but really I was hurting bad. Luckily I had a bit of a savings or I'd have been in really bad shape. But on the year anniversary when my unemployment insurance ran out, I had literally no money. But that whole time, I never stopped doing YouTube because I thought to myself, and I started doing other things. I started shooting some weddings to make ends meet. I started doing.
We've all been there.
Yeah, you do what you have to do. You use the skills you've done. I've gotten over the last 3 years on YouTube to start going in different directions. And I started thinking to myself, okay, maybe now
But
I should.
you didn't enjoy wedding video, right?
I didn't mind it. I mean,
okay. You're one of the lucky ones.
It wasn't. I mean, it's have you guys done that? It's a long day. It's a really.
We did. We did.
It's a very long.
We did one.
It felt like more though.
Yeah.
It felt like more weddings than one.
Well, I only shot one full day wedding, so that's probably similar to you guys. But I did a lot of like just the ceremony. A few $100, $500, like just. It's hard to live off of that.
Yeah.
And but I never gave up hope. I just kept doing YouTube, and I thought to myself, if I just throw my tentacles out there and touch on a little bit of everything, maybe something will take off. And it just so happened that in October, I think it was October, anyways, I took a 2-week trip across America. Do you guys remember the Ford Fiesta movement?
Yeah.
Where they gave away a bunch of cars to a bunch of YouTubers. Well, my friend Scott in Buffalo took myself and my friend Rob Dyke across America to visit our friend Dylan, whose channel's Household Hacker in Portland, Oregon.
Right.
Yeah.
So we went down to Buffalo, picked up Rob in Massachusetts, came all the way back to Buffalo, went all the way to Portland, and came all the way back to Buffalo. And then I went home, and then he dropped Rob off in Massachusetts because I couldn't handle being in a car for another even 8 hours after 2 weeks. But that trip really did a lot for me because I did a lot of networking in Portland. I signed to The Collective, which is Dylan started a sub-network called Tube Unity. He convinced me to sign with them. And that's really when everything took off. I started meeting people, just networking more. And then all of the sudden, something happened where it just kind of happens. I don't know if that happened to you guys. I know you guys have gone viral several times. I mean, your videos speak for themselves. But for me, I've never gone viral. So my growth was very sudden because right up until December, I had about 30,000 subscribers. Mm-hmm. And it took about 6 months to reach, 8 months now to reach 2.5 million. So it all happened very quickly. And there was about a 3-month period there where I was getting 25,000 subscribers a day, and I was right behind PewDiePie in terms of growth. There were some days where I even beat him.
Absolutely nuts.
It is nuts.
What was the first time that you recognized that was happening? Because you're saying it wasn't one viral video. It was a surge in the channel. Mm-hmm. Now, how long did a decision to only do list videos precede that wave of subscribers?
So what happened was truth be told, I didn't want to be known as the list guy. I always considered myself very creative. I didn't want to give up my, skit roots, the whole skit thing that I was doing. So I would do a skit one week and then I would do a top 10 list the other week. Why I started doing top 10 lists, I don't know. I've just always liked I've experimented a lot. I've tried top 20, I've tried top 40, top 50, 5, 7. I've tried all kinds of numbers. And just through experimentation, I realized that people really like top 10s. There's just something about that round number people like.
Because you would see in the performance of those videos
right, that's right.
that they would, you'd get it.
It was all in the analytics.
It would start breaking 1 million views at some point.
Well, I wasn't getting that at first.
Okay.
It's funny. Before all this happened, I was happy to get 2,000 views a week. I thought that was a lot. Because it is kind of, it's all relative, right? Like if you think about that, that's 2,000 people that watched your video. So now that I get 1 million in like 5 days, it still blows my mind. Because in many ways, I'm still that same guy in my head. But yeah, I would do a skit 1 week, and then the next week I would do a top 10. And then I would do a skit and then a top 10 and back and forth.
And at the end of the video, you would say, you would call people to subscribe, to push that big red button, and you'd say, subscribe to see my other comedy videos. And I remember seeing that, and I was like, well, are they list videos or are they comedy videos? So there was this trying to figure out, and I think that was my assumption was, there's an identity crisis going on here. Yeah. The fans want those lists, but he wants to be a comedian.
It was an evolution. It was a transition. That was where it was happening. Where I started looking at the analytics and thinking, oh my God, I'm getting 50,000 views on the skits, but my lists are getting 200,000. Yeah. So what would happen? And I would notice that there was a huge jump in subscribers when I do the top 10s. Just boom, happens. So I was thinking to myself, what would happen if I exclusively did top 10s? And the rest is history. That's really what happened.
But it wasn't an easy decision.
It was not. If you look at my outro screen, I stopped using the word comedy, and I stopped. Like up until a certain point, it would say subscribe new comedy videos every Saturday.
Right.
And I left that in there for a while, even after I started doing exclusively top 10s. But after a while, I started realizing, and I even started taking them out of the category of comedy, because up until then, they had all been considered comedy. And the reason I left it as that is because I always was doing a little, like you guys have probably, you've seen it. I do a little bit of comedy in between the facts, try to keep it light, kind of like Bill Nye was a big inspiration for me that way. It was interesting, like infotainment type stuff.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what happened. I realized, what? This is more education at this point. The comedy is secondary. So I took the word comedy out of my end card where I call people to action to subscribe. And I started moving it to classifying them as education in the education category. And that actually, I think, hurt my subscribership, actually, because as soon as I did that, I started going from 25,000 a day down to, I'm about at 6, I average 6,000 to 8,000 a day now, which is still nothing to sneeze at, but that's a big drop. And I think that, part of it was because of the switch from comedy to entertainment, or education, because I think a lot of people look for more comedy videos than they do education videos. But education's pretty big on YouTube now, so I'm still getting a decent amount of.
Well, this is so fascinating. I mean, we're so fascinated with this, obviously, because we have an interest in understanding this platform. But I think it's so cool to talk to you right now, because you are in the middle of this, right? I mean, you've gained 1.5 million subscribers since May.
Yep,
it's crazy, right?
And no viral video. That's why I'm proud of that, because it's like I still have.
Well, I think a lot of people would consider multiple million views viral, but not viral in the terms
not the way
of
you guys
tens
have
of millions or whatever.
Yeah,
but it's just so fascinating because you started with a certain thing, and one of my favorite videos of yours is your 1 million subscriber thank you video, where you show your first video.
Oh, really?
That you put up, because I think it helps to kind of encapsulate the process so much. You've got this video that you say, this is going to be embarrassing for me to show, and you said that you were definitely preparing the audience for how embarrassed you were going to be by showing this video. And then it's a totally different style. Like we said, it was very easy to see the different things that you had pulled from to put this video together, the different people that you've been influenced by. And now to see how so much you've honed in on this very specific style that is working. And so there's this dynamic of like, well, I kind of wanted to do this, but the audience has dictated that I'm doing this, and it's addictive. Is it not?
It's very addictive. It's very true, especially when it's something you've wanted for 3.5 years.
Yeah.
And for it to finally happen, I mean, for anyone out there that hasn't experienced anything like this, it's almost like a drug. Like you get like a high off of it. Like you start seeing all these people, like 10,000 subscribers a day. It's like, oh my God, like you get excited. It's like, that's a lot of people. Like I'm growing so quickly, and you get hooked on it. So you want to do more top 10s and more of what you're doing to keep those people coming. And it just keeps growing and growing, and it's like a drug addiction. I don't want to say that, but it is. It's like I don't want to call it fame. I don't like using that word, but it's like the notoriety, the attention. It's addictive. It really is.
Well, and I think, I mean, for the way I relate to it, I mean, obviously it's cool to be recognized for doing something. But when you just think about the longevity, you know, you want to be in this business for a long time, and the success, not just to be able to say that I'm successful, but to be able to keep doing it. It's so you gravitate towards the things that you're like, well, I mean, I kind of like those sketches, but boy, they don't want that from me.
Yeah.
So why am I going to give them something they don't want when I can kind of systematically give them exactly what they're asking for?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, it's sort of it's a trade-off, because when I used to do sketches, and I mean, I still enjoy that because you're not boxed into a top 10 format. I can do anything I want. I can move the camera. I can shoot clones. I can do all that stuff. But, you know, when you upload a video like that, and I remember getting, you know, say 2,000 views on it, but then I do a top 10, I get far more. It really, I don't know, the top 10s outweigh the loss of not being able to have that creativity because you're getting so much more attention. It's just, it satisfies you in a different way. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I can't be as creative, but I mean, you guys have probably seen some of my more recent videos. I try to still use that creativity. Like I'll appear right at the beginning, like out of nowhere, you know what I'm saying? Or like, I don't know, like I'll crash land through the roof like I did in my most recent video. So elements of that are still there. It's not dead. It's just I'm picking and choosing how to use my creativity now.
Is there a fear that either you're still going to get tired of it? I mean, that for certain people doing any one thing for too long can feel like being an accountant at a desk. Or is there a fear that the audience is going to change their mind? You do any one thing too long, they lose interest.
There isn't a fear. It's, how do I explain it? It's more of, you know, I think that people universally just like facts. They like to learn things, and they like to do it in a fun way. Do I think that, you know, this could all go away someday? Sure, I do. I think YouTube could all go away someday, not just the popularity of lists. So I don't ever think about the future. I really don't. That's something that I've learned in the last year, is live in the present. Because there's so much happening in my life like right now. I mean, I'm here for LA for a week. It would be a terrible thing to think at any point during this week, oh geez, I wonder, you know, if I'm gonna lose views next week or subscribers. It's like, man, live in the moment. I'm here now. I'm you know, on Ear Biscuits. Like, this is a cool opportunity. I get to see you guys again. Like, live for the now, man. Like, that's the thing that I tell people all the time. It's, don't worry, don't live in the past. What's in the past, in the past. Don't think about the future, because all we have is right now. And, you know, that's something that I truly, and take risks. That's the most important thing.
Is that a discipline you've acquired, or do you think that is a personality makeup that you have, that it's a gift that comes along with it?
Oh no, that's something I've learned.
Okay.
I believe it or not, up until recently, I was an extremely conservative person. Taking a trip to LA by myself, forget about it, a year ago, even 6 months ago. But every single time, I realized that every single time I've ever stepped out of my comfort zone, something amazing has happened from it every single time. And to anyone listening, honestly, that would be my one thing I want you to take away from any of this advice I'm giving is step out of your comfort zone and truly do something that scares you. Do something that sounds amazing, but is absolutely terrifying for you. And one of two things will happen. If it's YouTube, some incredible opportunity could come out of it, or if nothing else, you'll just grow as a person. And that's really important, to grow as a person. You don't want to stay stagnant and do the same things over and over, because that's a boring life, man. Do something exciting, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So that's my PSA.
Well, I want to talk about the specifics of how the content has arrived at what it is right now. There's a couple of things. I mean, it's not as simple as, okay, well, I was doing some sketches and now I'm just doing the list videos. But the tone, how I would describe the guy who is delivering the information in your most recent video versus your first video, right? So in the first video, it was like, okay, I'm a funny guy, I'm a comedian, and I'm going to do and say some things that are funny, and this is all for your entertainment. This is all to make you laugh. Now it's this is very much about you actually getting what I'm saying, almost to the point that your tone, your enunciation, you are speaking to the audience as if it is very important that they understand, almost as if you're taking into account that there are people out there who are ESL, English as a second language. Yeah. You are clarifying things very, almost to the point where you're like, okay, if I'm an American guy your age, I would be like, I almost feel like you're not speaking to me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I've actually gotten many messages from people that are ESL that have said, my second language is English, but I speak Spanish or I speak French, and your videos are teaching me how to speak English. Believe it or not, they'll say things like,
I totally believe that.
Your pronunciation is excellent. And for the record, I don't actually speak that properly all the time, but doing these videos has really taught me to speak properly, because we all kind of use slang and say like, hey, what's up, or something like that, right? Like I just said, something like that. Like that's how I speak. Like everyone speaks with slang.
But how did you come to that decision? How did you
by
pick
watching
up
the videos back? So I'd watch the videos back and be like, oh, what did I say there? You know what I mean? Like, and as a viewer, I don't think they're going to understand if I said this word or this word. So I started really being careful, and it happens all the time. And people don't realize how long it takes to make these videos, not just because of the research, but I do often, 20 takes on one sentence because I can't get that T out properly, and it matters. I can't think of any specific example, but just that type of stuff, and it's frustrating. But I find myself it's now carrying over to real life, where I'll be talking in a conversation and I will purposely catch myself before I even say the word and pronunciate it really correctly. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's funny how, to go back to what you were saying about my original videos to now, it's you sort of, and tell me if you guys agree with this, you sort of find your on-camera persona, your presence. When you first start, you're kind of, you don't know what you look like. Like now, when I make a face, I know exactly what it looks like to the other person while I'm making it, because I've done it. I've seen my face 100 million different ways, right? Especially the teeth, right? I'm just like, hey, what's happening? I know exactly what that looks like.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, I would say we're very much ourselves on Good Mythical Morning, but anyone who listens to Ear Biscuits will know that the tone of what you're going to get on the Ear Biscuit and what you're going to get on Good Mythical Morning they're distinct,
Right.
And right, there's a different energy. There's a different
same person, but it's a different package. Mm-hmm. Definitely relate to that. And you get that. I mean, we've lost the majority of our Southern accent because of watching ourselves back for years upon years on video. And it's not necessarily, I don't think it's not being ashamed of the Southern accent, but it's I don't know how that's coming across to the masses, right? So if I want to speak to everyone, so definitely relate to that.
Mm-hmm. And they say that, do you guys hear an accent the way I speak? Because I'm Canadian?
Yeah,
I hear that. Do you?
I mean, on a number of words, but not.
Explain, like what? I'm curious to hear this, because I hear Americans say that all the time.
ABOUT.
Oh God,
that's the.
It's mostly about.
Yeah. See, you're trying.
I'm trying. But if I say it quickly, like about, it's a rounded out, like it's not a boot, like people exaggerate. You say a boot. It's not a boot. It's about. It's like it's OU. It's like rounded. It's strange. I don't know why we do that.
But I would say that. I mean, my advice to all three of us would be, let's just kind of keep it where it is right now. It's like it's been, it's the edges have been taken off of it, but we don't want to go any further. I should be able to tell that you're Canadian by hearing you talk. I think that that's an asset.
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, some people, look at a British YouTuber, any one of them really, they're super popular. Why? Well, because, Charlie McDonald, for example, he makes great content, but people love that accent.
Yeah,
it's a rare import type thing. You know what I'm saying? Like they watch it and it's like, oh, I like that accent.
It's novel.
Yeah, it's novel. It's
now,
cool.
Another thing that you've done is you're clean. Your initial content had some off-color stuff. Yeah. Tell us about that evolution.
So I never really swore heavily. There's one video that I say everything and a lot of it. And that was just an experimental video to see how it would work. And I got a lot of feedback from that video saying, like, especially from my family and stuff, they'd say things like, oh, geez, like we didn't really like that. And I was kind of embarrassed by it. So I didn't do that ever again. But yeah, my original videos, I would only say the S word. I'd never said the F word. If I did, I bleeped it. And it was intentional. I would write it into the script for comedy.
Yeah.
But now, because I don't really speak like that, but in now, I purposely leave that out because I know I have a very young audience. So, I have an audience of all different ages, but really probably from like 8 to 16, 8 to 20. So it's still fairly young. I get a lot of letters on my second channel where I do my Mail with Matt series. A lot of 8-year-olds, 10-year-olds, 12-year-olds. So not just the fact that I know they're watching, but I also get a lot of messages from parents. I get a lot of parents messaging me on my Facebook page saying, hey, I just wanted to say thank you for your clean content. I love my son watching your videos because he learns things. Mm-hmm. And that's cool. Like, you know, like I wake up pretty much every morning. I have my coffee through a straw and I sit there and I have my cereal or whatever I'm eating and I answer my Facebook messages. That's kind of a tradition that I have every day in my tweets and stuff. And a lot of them are from parents, a lot. So that's I kind of think to myself, like, I have almost an obligation at this point. You know, like 2.5 million people. That's a lot of people. And it's the same thing with you guys. What are you at, 3.5, 3 point something on a Good Mythical Morning?
Yeah.
That's a lot of people. Like, think about that. That's almost double the size of, like, Toronto, right? So you got to figure, you know, you have probably a lot of people that wake up that expect a certain quality of content, a certain amount of cleanliness, and if you go out there and start dropping F-bombs, it's an off-brand thing. You know, it's a branding thing, really, is what it is. So I just try to keep it clean.
Yeah.
Do you see YouTube as a game? Rhett and I refer to playing the YouTube game as our way of characterizing the techniques to build a channel. Do you see it as a game?
No, I don't. You know what? I don't see it.
Not in a trivialization kind of a way.
No, I know what you're saying.
But in like a strategic.
Yeah.
Everything is a decision. What's the thumbnail? What am I in the thumbnail? Am I in every thumbnail? What's the title? Is the number 10?
Well, that stuff matters, of
once
course.
A week?
And you have to be cognizant of that, and you definitely have to pay attention to that. But I'm actually really glad that my growth happened so rapidly, so quickly, because in many ways, I'm also glad that I struggled for so long, because in many ways, to this day, I'm still that guy. I still remember having 10,000 subscribers and thinking, man, I would love to be famous. Because like it's cool to have that many people. And I still don't look at myself as famous. I don't really like that word, but I definitely have notoriety now, but it's cool. And yeah, I don't know. I don't look at it as a game. I look at it as, okay, I know what I have to do. I know I have to put myself in the thumbnail with a goofy face, with the smile and the teeth. People expect that. They look for that every Saturday morning. I know that I have to put a 10 in the title. I know that I have to use catchy title like blah, 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 you didn't know, or blah, 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 of all time, or et cetera. You guys know how that stuff works. Very BuzzFeedy type styles of words. But I don't look at it as, what can I do to get the most views? I don't look at it like that. I use a certain standard and that's it, because I never look at my analytics. There was a while there when I was getting the 25,000 a day, where I was looking at my analytics every day and getting excited about, oh my God, a quarter of 100,000 people. It's amazing. But I don't do that anymore because you can really get obsessed with that stuff, and you can really, like I said, it's almost like a drug. Like you start looking for it, and it's like, oh, like I wonder how many I'm going to get today. It's like you're fiending for those subscribers.
Yeah.
I know this might sound silly to people listening, but until you actually experience it, it's a bizarre thing. And I don't do that anymore. I'm sort of returning almost to my roots of, I'm just a guy that likes making videos. I just want to continue doing that. And I'm just going to make topics that I find interesting. I've never done, I think there have only been 1 or 2 occasions where I've done a topic that I really wasn't interested in, but was so highly requested that I had to do it. But every other video is
what?
I'm not into zombies much. This is actually pre-top 10, I think. I'm trying to think now. No, it wasn't. It was top 10. It was called 10 Ways to Survive the Zombie Apocalypse. And I'm not a zombie guy. I'm really not. I've never gotten into Walking Dead. I think it's a decent show, but I've never really got into that whole genre.
So that's an example of one you wouldn't do now.
No, I probably would, because again, it was so highly requested that it was just something like, I can't ignore this anymore. But 99% of my videos are topics that I would find interesting. And that's always how I've done my videos, is a topic that I only make videos and put out videos that I would like to see. And I've always run my channel that way. I've never done a video, and I've never put anything in a video that I haven't been proud of or have thought to myself, I don't know about that. I've never done that. It's always been, that's cool. I gave my 100% at that. And I think my content shows that. Even as almost amateur as my original videos were, there's still a level of quality there. And I pride myself on that. And I've never uploaded a vlog on my main channel. I mean, I suppose I have 1 or 2, but nothing consistent like that.
Well, I think it's interesting. You're touching on something, which is the balance between leading your audience and being led by your audience, right? Having the audience dictate what you're going to do, and then sort of dictating that for your audience, which any YouTuber, one of the dynamics of YouTube is we are on the opposite end of the spectrum from, say, the Coen brothers. When the Coen brothers sit down, or Wes Anderson sits down to conceptualize a film, my impression is they could care less, or they couldn't care less about what people want, right? It's very much about what they want to create. We don't have that luxury in one sense. We have to think, because the audience is so involved, and the audience is so responsive, and they're so vocal. I think it's a beautiful thing about YouTube. It sounds to me, one of the things I hear you saying, because we've talked about this evolution of your content, which is very much responding to the audience, letting the audience kind of determine what you were going to make. But you have a strong desire to hold on to, okay, I'm not going to talk about things that I'm not interested in, maybe 1% of the time. But describe that balance of listening and being led by the audience, and then leading the audience and coming up with what you're going to do next.
It's tough. I mean, I kind of take the Apple approach. People don't know what they want. You just have to give them what they want. Make them understand what they want, or teach them what that type of thing.
Yeah.
As pompous as that sounds, but I think people, for the most part, just
give them what they don't know they want.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like, don't follow what everybody else is doing. Is as ironic as that is, because there's a lot of people doing list videos. But I think, not to go off on a tangent, but I think that's what separates us from a lot of these other faceless top 10 channels or list channels. And I don't want to name names, but I know the people behind almost all of them. Actually, I'll just say All Time 10s. You guys are probably familiar with them. I know the entire team behind All Time 10s. Amazing videos. But what I think and great guys, but I think what my advantage over them and any other list channel, except you guys, because you use your faces, is I use my face. And people like to be spoken to by a person. And a channel like All Time 10s is fantastic, and I love those guys. But it's just text on a screen with pictures. And there's something to be said for having a personality and speaking to somebody, because it's like being in school. When you were in school and you had that really awesome teacher, everybody's always had that one teacher that's just you remember forever, because you learn so much and they made learning fun. That's what I aim to do. And I think that's what we kind of all do here is we you guys do it on Good Mythical Morning and you guys have a lot of fun while you're doing it and the audience picks up on that. And it almost takes down the barrier for learning, because when you're in school, that's why many people hate school and they look forward to snow days and crap like that, because, they know they're going to come in, they're just going to hear a lecture and it's going to be boring. But I had this one teacher that always told a joke at the beginning of class and it just loosened you up. You know what I mean? It took the wall down. So I think that's what sets us apart. And I totally forgot what you asked originally now, because I totally went off on a tangent.
Well,
I just asked, why don't you like Danger Dolan? And I think that's what you
said. God. You know what's funny? I just recently learned, is that a serious question?
No, I was just making a joke. You said you didn't want to mention names.
No,
that's faceless, right?
Yeah, I just recently learned who that guy was. And the funny thing is, how I found out who he was because I did a video called the 10 Inventors That Were Killed by Their Own Inventions.
Yeah.
And apparently that was like his first video, and I was unaware he even existed. And
it was also the first thing we talked about. Remember the Niagara Falls?
Yeah. And he came so many people. See, a lot of the people that subscribe to you, subscribe to me, subscribe to All Time 10, subscribe to Danger Dolan, and people claim ripoff all the time. I don't know if you guys get it, but I get it all the time, and it's like, man, first and foremost, everything is a remix. You guys know what I'm saying? Like, there are no original ideas anymore. Everything that could have been done has been done by now. And there's actually an awesome documentary, a 3-part documentary that's free to watch online called Everything is a Remix. Have you guys seen it?
I
know about it, yeah.
You should watch it. It's really, really good. It's fascinating. Anyways, definitely check that out. But I got a whole bunch of comments. Oh man, you've lost your own ideas now. You're ripping this person off. You're ripping All Time 10s off. And it's like, there are multiple ways to do the same topic. And I never, and that's when I really, for a while there, I was searching a topic before I did it. Mm-hmm. And I can't tell you how many topics I threw in the trash because they were already done. And after a while, I realized, you know what? I'm not searching on YouTube anymore because it's probably been done. So I'm just going to do it. And if people claim ripoff, that's cool, because I'm still, that's just going to be 300 dislikes out of 50,000 likes. I'm okay with that. So there's multiple ways to do the same topic, and just make it your own. You know what I mean? And that's another piece of advice I'd tell anyone listening who wants to make YouTube videos is, don't search if something's been done already. Never ever do that. If you want to do something like a morning talk show with your best friend, and you want to have a rooster shooting fire out of its mouth, who knows if that's been done before? I don't know. But do it. You know what I mean? Jump in. Don't research that stuff, because it's probably been done, and it'll just stop you from doing it. And when you do it yourself, you're going to do it in your own way, and you're going to do it with your own personality and your own style. So just jump into it. Don't do the morning thing. That's been taken. Yeah, but you know what I'm saying? It's just, everything's been done by now.
Yeah, I mean, when you're doing, especially, let's say you do 5 videos a week, we'd run into that problem quite a bit, and have to kind of make a decision. It's like, okay, well, can we do it differently?
I'm trying to figure out if I agree with that piece of advice, Matt. I don't know.
Which part?
The searching before you do. I agree with the sentiment that if you really have in your heart or mind to create something, you should express yourself.
Well, and here's an example. I think the reason that we might be more personally sensitive to this is because our background is in more, like original songs and sketches and that kind of thing.
Yeah, we have to Google a topic for a song before we throw as much as we're going to put into time and money and effort into a music video. Because you can't back
out of that. If you make I'm on a boat and you didn't know there was I'm on a boat, you can't explain to anyone that that's not like a subject in a top 10 list.
Right.
That's a specific comedic angle, right? I mean, here's a great example. I don't know if we've ever told this story, but we did a song last year called Put the Phone Down.
No, it was called Get Off the Phone. It was called
Get Off the Phone. And we wrote the song, and it was called Put the Phone Down. We had written the song. It was a branded project. So we had written the song, it had been approved by the brand and everything. And then it was like, you know what? We always check this. I don't know why we didn't check this one, but let's just make sure that this hasn't been done. And we found a video. What's the guy's name?
DJ.
He did the Whole Foods rap. I can't remember his name. Mm-hmm. We've met him a couple times. He did the Whole Foods rap, and so
it's getting real in the Whole Foods parking lot.
Yeah, so he's a comedic musician, and he did a song called
Put the Phone
Down, and it was a rap, and he had, not only was it called Put the Phone Down, which is what we were going to call our song, he had some of the same exact jokes. In fact, he had a coffee shop scene in which he was waiting in line behind someone who was on their phone. We had written a whole verse about being in line behind someone who was at a coffee shop on a phone, and there was like 2 or 3 other things. We were like, how does this happen?
Uncanny.
How do you come up with the exact same title and the exact same jokes?
That's bizarre.
Because that's just the way comedy works,
Right.
observational comedy especially. Right. So we had to revisit the whole song. We had to change the lyrics. We had to change what we called it.
Yeah.
Because from that standpoint, it was like, okay, well, but I feel I disagree and I agree, because in one sense, we're not going to not talk about the top 10, whatever it might be, just because it's been done, because it will have been done. Mm-hmm. But we just want to check that, okay, well, maybe it wasn't done last week by a competitive YouTube channel, and let's see if we can come up with a slightly different treatment. So, I think there's just, but you're right. If you're going to keep yourself from doing something that's been done, well, you're not going to do anything.
Yeah, I just meant don't let it be a hindrance to your creativity.
Don't be boxed in by it.
For example, for myself, if I Googled, I wonder if anyone's doing top 10 lists.
Oh, yeah.
I would have never been where I am
now.
now.
David Letterman.
Oh, actually, yeah, good point. Good point. And it's the same thing. Everybody's done top 10. David Letterman started it. That probably in some way influenced all-time 10s. I didn't know who all-time 10s was because I've been doing videos for 4 years, but then people started mentioning them on my channel. And then I started talking to them, and I met the guys behind the team and everything. But yeah, it's like, I wouldn't be where I am if I didn't start doing top 10 lists at all,
exactly.
Consistently. So, it's got to be a balance, I think.
So, as you think about where you're going from here, what's next? What does the next year look like? How do you set your path as to how are you going to innovate?
Well, I thought this was the pinnacle right here. Isn't Ear Biscuits like? Am I not done? Isn't this like it?
Okay, yeah, you can quit now.
Oh, perfect, cool.
But if you decide not to quit now,
if I decide not to, I don't know.
I know you don't like to think about the future, but I'm challenging you to think about the future right now.
Well, I've been thinking about starting a new series that I really don't want to mention right now because I looked it up and I don't think it's been done.
Uh-oh!
Shockingly. So it's exactly in line with what I'm doing now, and it makes a whole lot of sense. And unfortunately I can't talk about it here, but I'll tell you guys after. It's pretty cool. But it has to do with
we'll tell everybody.
Yeah, feel free. That's cool. But no big deal.
Can we guess?
And then you guys might end up doing it.
This is what we do. Is at this point, Rhett and I will guess, and
if you guess, I'll tell you.
One of us will be right. Oh,
yeah. If you guess it,
no, we don't want to do that to you.
Oh, go ahead. Shoot a couple out.
I was going to say...
If we guess?
It's exactly in line with what I'm doing now. It makes a lot of sense.
Okay, I was going to say a Spanish version of what you're doing.
No.
Okay, all right. Because
so
you should do that.
I think it's still going to be list-based, but it's not going to be facts.
It's going to be in 3D.
No, work with me here because he's opened the door.
He's opened the door, and we're good at this.
I think you're about to guess it, and I'm worried.
We'll guess it.
Oh, no.
You open the door.
Oh, no.
Hey, Rhett, focus on me right now, okay?
All right.
He's going to do is still list-based, but it's instead of being about facts, I would, if I were him, I would go in a direction that maybe is it Vice?
No.
Not advice. You've done some advice in the past.
It's not tips.
No, it's in the exact same vein of what I'm doing now.
Clips.
No.
It's more clip.
No, I think it's going to be examples of something that fit a category, but not facts. So, right? I'm just throwing something out there to try to read it.
I see now you're just fishing.
Just give us one hint.
Well, you want people to be excited about this, right? But you don't want anybody to steal it.
Well, I don't know if I'm going to do it.
Oh.
And it would... Because I know if I say this, someone will end up taking it, and I don't think it's been done yet. I mean... But
you're on record saying you've done it, and then you're going to run back to...
I'm thinking about... this is in line with what you're saying about the future. To go back to that, what I plan on doing is just continuing what I'm doing, but potentially continuing to evolve in any way that I see fit or that I think is necessary for the continuation of my channel, but also to experiment a little bit and start something... You know, I I just want to tell you guys now. I really shouldn't.
All right, use constraint. Here's an
You
even
don't have
better
to tell
idea.
us.
Here's an even better. Start your camera, sit down with a stack of mail, and spend the next hour and a half or more making a continuous video of opening and reading mail.
Yeah, do that.
That's what you
That
should
sounds
do.
like a terrible, terrible idea.
Well, listen, man, this has been fun. I'm going to rescue you from yourself so you're not going to throw your
yeah,
amazing
yeah.
idea out there. Thanks for helping us make this here, Biscuits. Great to get to know you. Sign the table.
Yeah,
I
let's
will.
do that.
Is
Sign
that
it
something
once
we
now.
do like on air, like right now?
Yeah, sign it once,
Sometimes.
not 10 times.
Oh boy. Can I be beside Jenna Marbles?
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
This is as close as
as
you're
I'm
ever
ever
gonna
get. Exactly.
And there you have it, our conversation with Matt Santoro.
Fascinating. You know,
You can't boil it down to just 10 points in the list, though. You know, you got to.
I could try.
That's what an ear biscuit is.
Maybe I
cannot.
could. How about 50 points? I could boil it down to 50 amazing facts about what we just talked about, but that would be difficult to do.
Maybe he'll do that.
Matt, please don't do that. You don't have to do that. It was fascinating to me for a number of reasons. I think it's, you know, he's one of the only guys that we've talked to on Ear Biscuits who is in the midst of this amazing upswing. A lot of people we've talked to have kind of been through a few ups and downs or whatever. And that question of striking a balance between dictating the content and being dictated to by your audience, you know, being led by your audience or leading your audience, is something that I can't help but be introspective about, because we're doing a lot of the same things, right? We've touched on some of the same subjects, and Good Mythical Morning taps into the same mentality. A lot of times we do a lot of list videos. We do videos that we feel like are tapping into what people want to see.
Right, and it's so, you know, it's easy to, when something's working, it's easy to keep doing it. I appreciated his honest response that, you know, when things start working, it perpetuates itself. It's easy to want to keep doing it. Now, I think that, you know, there does get to be a point when if you keep doing list videos, you know, maybe he'll get to a point where he has to ask the question, well, how many more of these do I want to keep doing? You know, he's already talking about iterating, kind of branching out into something different. I think that's smart. I think you have to do that.
He's got to do that. He's also right that people are not gonna quit wanting to learn, and I don't think that people are gonna quit wanting to learn having things organized in a list. I mean, this is an old system that's really being implemented onto a new platform.
But you look at someone like Ray William Johnson on =3, which he was heavily influenced by, and Ray just couldn't, you know, I haven't talked to Ray about it. I'd love to get him on Ear Biscuits. But I have surmised that Ray he couldn't keep doing the show. He couldn't keep doing =3 and setting up the clips and then knocking them down. You know, he had to move on to doing something else, to move into acting and things like that. So
it wasn't the audience that dictated that move. It was
certainly not.
It was him. And so I think it's when we talk to Matt at this point, it's still so fresh that I think when you ask him that question, he's like, "Yeah, this is what I'm doing. I'm not going to think too much about the future." I guess my theory is I don't think it's going to be the audience that is going to instigate a change in content. I think it's going to be himself. We can relate to that, right? You evolve. You evolve as a creator.
Well, and for us, you know, I think our preference is to not commit so fully to one format, say with Good Mythical Morning, that we're actually afraid of being pigeonholed. And, you know, I think that was behind some of my questions was just my own fear of, well, are we not going all in enough with the things that work because we're not willing to be seen as certain people who just make list videos or eat extreme foods,
right?
You can't sustain that 5 days a week anyway. But
right.
You know, it would take you more of a slow growth model, which things are still working out for us. But he made the comment, you've got to give them what they don't know they want. I think we throw that around a lot too, and trying to figure out, you know, how are we going to iterate on Good Mythical Morning so it doesn't get stale for the audience or for us.
Yeah, and I think the words of wisdom from Matt that are very applicable to anyone who's making YouTube content or aspires to make YouTube content. Don't get into the numbers chasing game. Even though you may look at what he's done and he's found something that's working and he's getting millions of views, him saying that he's no longer focusing so much on, well, how many subscribers am I getting in a day? And I'm not going in and looking at the analytics because it is something you can really obsess about. And I think it can be really unhealthy. And we've been there. And it usually happens in the midst of an incredible success is when you really get into it. And then it kind of wanes a little bit and you start panicking.
Yeah, I also was impressed that he didn't seem to have a chip on his shoulder about being a list video guy.
Yeah.
Maybe he's still in process, but I think that he's dealt with that and, he owns it. And he says, you know what, I'm going to make these list videos and they're going to, people want them and I'm going to give them to them and I'm going to own that. And even if someone else has already done something, I'm going to do it in my way. Mm-hmm. And, everything is a remix. How much is kind of him preaching to himself? How much is him actually believing those things? I don't know. I think there's a good question as I listen back to it.
Well, let Matt know how much you appreciated him and his ear biscuit. You can do that on Twitter at Matthew Santoro. He is the at Matthew Santoro account, unless there's someone who has somehow gotten verified and looks exactly like him. But I'm almost sure that's him. So let him know, hashtag ear biscuits. Let us know what you think about this ear biscuit and ear biscuits in general. You can do that by leaving a comment on iTunes, a review, a rating. That's very helpful to us. You can also leave a comment on SoundCloud, and we appreciate you tasting this biscuit with us.
We'll bake another one and speak at it next week.